Is it possible to take your life from good to great? Is it possible to take your life from the trench to the hill? Is it possible to take your life from nowhere to somewhere? Is it possible to emerge and become a leader and become great and become everything that you've always desired to become? This is what this book, Good to Great by Jim Collins, answers. So this book is basically a business book which seeks to answer that is it possible to take a business from good to great? If yes, how? This is the first book I'm reading that I did not buy with my money. So I have this principle of always getting my books with my money so that I would highlight and enjoy the book while reading. Now, but a little backstory on how I got this masterpiece without buying it. Although it's not mine, but I'm grateful that I have it for now. I'm consuming the knowledge until I get mine. Last 2 weeks, I was privileged to have a meeting, an educational meeting with one of the wealthiest person in my region. And we got talking. The meeting was supposed to last for 5 minutes. And when I got into his office, I was just looking around like, okay, so what does this man do with his life? What does he do with his free time? I was just one or two things to learn just from his office because I've always learned to observe things. And then my eyes fell on his personal library. And what I noticed is that about 80% of the book in his library are business books because he's a business person. Almost to the closing of the meeting, he asked, does anyone has a question? And everybody was just quiet. But at that time, I already seen this book and I've heard so much about the book, but I've not bought the book yet. And so I was smiling. So he looked at me and he said, and I'm sure you have a question because you're smiling. I said, I don't quite have a question, but I've seen something I like. He was like, okay, so what do you like? I said, that thing. I was just pointing at it and I said, that thing. He said, go show me. And I moved straight to his personal library and brought out this book. And then he said, you read? I said, sir, I do. I love reading. And I've actually read over 100 books cover to cover. He was like, what? I said, yeah, I have. I just like reading. And we got talking. A meeting that was supposed to last for like 5 minutes ended up lasting for over 45 minutes. We talked about tons of things about family, about reading books, about employing, about labor, because he's an employer of labor, about business, about tons of things about reading culture, reading habits, and how it's going to help you. We just talked about a lot of things at random relating to books and personal development. And then he said, okay, so since you like the book, I bought the book, I've not read it yet. I'll give you the book for 2 weeks. You go read it, and then we'll book another appointment in another 2 weeks to talk about what you learned from the book. So I came home and started reading this book. But I read up until page 80 and I noticed something amazing that I'd like to share in this video. Now, this book is generally a book that talks about businesses, like how to take a business from good to great. Is it possible to take a business from good to great? If yes, then how? But I noticed at about page 80 that this book is low-key a personal development book. Why do I say that? There are 5 principles in this book that I've observed. Some of them I've implemented and I've seen massive results in my life. And I believe that if I share this, like what I've learned from this book, it's going to help someone, anyone, a lot, and it's going to transform somebody's life. So the first principle I learned from this book is businesses that move from good to great have level 5 leaders. Now, you see, so what has leadership got to do with personal development and my life moving from good to great? Let me start by defining leadership. A leader is a person who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. So, if you want to move your life from good to great, you have to be a leader to yourself. This is where personal leadership comes in. You have to learn to lead yourself. How do you lead yourself? Let's go back to the definition of leadership. A leader is a person who knows the way. In order to lead yourself, you have to have vision. Like you have to sit down with yourself, and this process is very boring. You have to sit down with yourself and you have to go, where do I want to see myself educationally in the next 2 years? Where do I want to see myself financially in the next 1 year? Where do I want to see myself maritally in the next 2 years? Where do I want to see myself socially, in business, and in every aspect? Just sit down with yourself for about 2 3 hours and ask yourself very sincere questions. Where do I want to see myself in the next 2-3 years. The reason I'm not calling 5, 10, 15 is because I want you to learn to, saying where do I see myself in the next 5 years can be very bogus. It can be very draining for you to start thinking, where do I want to see myself in the next 5 years? 5 years is far. Where do I want to see myself in the next 20 years? But if you just say a year or two, like when you're going, like when you start executing on that year or two, you'll be able to see the broader picture. Let's start from somewhere. So a leader knows the way. A leader has vision. Secondly, a leader goes the way. It's not enough to write down your vision. You have to execute. You have to act upon it. We know that every year we see tons of video, even around us, people go, okay, this year is going to be different. I have my new year resolution. This is what I want to do. But 3 months into the year, they cannot even find the paper they wrote their resolutions on. So what am I saying? A leader knows the way. A leader has vision. A leader executes, shows the way, goes the way, sorry. And then a leader shows the way. When you execute over a long time, you start having results, and then you can mentor others, you can teach others. That is leadership. In order to take your life from good to great, you have to have a vision for your life. You have to execute, like do everything to execute on that vision. And then you can start teaching people how to become a better person that you have become. The second thing I learned, the second principle I learned from this book is you have to have the right people on the bus. Have the right people on the bus. Don't go about having everyone in your life. I mean, if you're going somewhere, you have to learn to bring in the people that would help you to go there quicker. Now, what am I saying? There are some people in your life that are not supposed to be in your life. Yeah, and these people, sometimes, the reason why it's very difficult to tell these people plainly, like, I don't want to be close with you, I don't want to be friends with you, or I just want space, is because these people are friends. They are buddies, they are people we've grown up with, they are neighbors. We built such emotional strongholds with, and we don't want to let go of that. We don't want to make them feel hurt. We don't want to betray them. But I mean, at some point in time, you have to choose yourself. You have to choose your growth. If you really want to be the person, you don't want to be the person who goes, oh, I really wish I just made that decision when I was 21. I really wish if only I had made that decision when I was 30. You don't want to live like that when you're 50 or 60. You have to make that decision now. You have to tell yourself, okay, I love these people, but these guys are not going to help me become. You have to take them out of your life. Fire them quickly. Take them out. I know I'm being a bit harsh, but that is it. That is the only way. Take them out. Take them out. A wise man said, if you have 4 fools around you, you did not count well. You are the fifth fool. Why? Because your circle determines who exactly you are and who you'll become. That is why to move your life from good to great, you have to get the right people into your life. Go for people who have done it, people who have become the person you only dream about, and get them into your life. Relate with them. If they're organizing things, attend it. That's how you get to rub minds with them. Listen to them much more often. The third principle is get the right people in the right places. It's not enough to get the right person into your life or the right people into your life, but you have to get the right people in the right places. What do I mean? You attend a meeting that was organized by somebody you admire, you make them your mentor, but you relate with them like a friend. You don't talk about things that are relating to your growth. You just talk about mundane things and frivolous things. That is not how you grow. You have to learn to put the right people in the right place. One day you meet a mentor. It's not talking. You're not there to talk. You're there to listen. You're there to pick out what you think gave them that result and start implementing it in your life. But when you go to your mentor and you all do is talk, 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 you don't even listen. You don't even know, you don't even get the strategy they put into themselves to become the person you only admire. You have to learn to put the right people in the right places. Your mentor is not your friend. Your mentor is someone you learn from. Now, I'm not saying that don't relate friendly with your mentor, but you have to know exactly where to put them. Your mentor is someone you learn from. When you go before them, you're not trying to be all these Okay, I mean, my life is okay. No, you're trying to learn. Just be quiet and learn, observe, ask questions. It's very important. The fourth principle is put the best people on your best opportunities. I'll say it again, put the best people on your best opportunities, not your worst problems. Putting the best people in your best opportunities means once you get these people into your life, now you're relating with people who are challenging you, who are inspiring you, who are leading you. You want to put them on your best opportunities, not your worst problems. Like when you get to a mentor, when you get to someone who is doing the thing you want to do, when you're relating with them, you want to learn to produce a result they produce on that level. Not just, okay, not it's good to talk about your problems, but talk more about what you aspire to become. You can't live your entire life trying to put out fires. Learn to take those steps. Fires will always be there. Don't go back and say, okay, how do I solve this problem? Yes, you have to solve problems, but you have to focus more on moving your life forward. I think that was quite simple. You have to focus, put the best people on your best opportunities, not your worst problems. The fifth and the best, I love it so much. It's the principle called the principle of the mirror and the window. So the principle of the mirror and the window basically says that companies that are taking their business from good to great, and companies that have taken their business from bankruptcy to being Fortune 500, Fortune 200, Fortune 100 companies are companies whose leaders practice the principle of the mirror and the window. What does this principle says? It says that a good leader, like someone who wants to take their life from good to great, if anything is going on well with your life, they look out at the window. They look there to give respect to the people who have contributed to them. I see this all the time with people who are successful. They come on global platforms and they say, I had a mentor, Dr. Shove, with Rich Dad Poor Dad. Sir Robert Kiyosaki, he says it all the time. My rich dad was. That is someone who is practicing the principle of the mirror and the window. When everything is going well, when you have results, it's not about, oh, I did it, I'm self-made. No, they give honor to whom honor is due. And when everything is not going well, or when something is not going well, they look into the mirror. They look at themselves. They ask themselves, what am I not doing? Who am I not relating with? Who can I get to fix this problem? They look at the mirror. I've seen this countless times with people whose lives are on the struggle bus. I see these guys blaming everyone but themselves. They don't want to take responsibilities. They go, oh, if my father was not a drunkard, I mean, my life would not have been like this. If only my parents sent me to school, probably I wouldn't have been a dropout. And then, baby, it already happened. You have to pick up the broken pieces of your life and move forward. Just take responsibilities for your life. Tell yourself, okay, these things might have happened, but now what can I do about it? That is where it all begins. That is how to take your life from good to great or from even worse to good. You have to start by taking responsibilities like this is my life. If anything worthwhile is going to come out from it, I am responsible. I will make it happen. Quit saying that if it were not for my first boyfriend, I mean, he destroyed my life. Baby, at least you have life. Put whatever it is left of you together and start moving forward. Okay? Okay, now I got a little emotional there, but I think it's very important that we learn to take responsibility for our lives. Now, I know that you learned something, but above learning something, I want you to implement something because that is where the transformation begins.